5.
All right. Can you tell that I have like 9 colors in my hair though? For real? You can, right? A little bit? Like
No, just highlights.
No.
I don't see.
No,
And
back.
I'm the last person you should ask about colors.
he's colorblind.
Oh, right. Green, brown, right.
You're wearing a red shirt today.
What color is it?
Here we go.
That's the funny stuff that we talk about. No. Oh.
Hey, welcome to What I Learned This Week. This week, back again after a tremendous hiatus. I don't even remember when the last time we did this show was.
We haven't learned anything in weeks.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Today's a cool show because we have a very special guest, the most beautiful woman in the world, who happens to also be my wife, Kelly Fitzgerald.
Yay! Where's the sound effect?
Oh, you know what? I had to get rid of it to add extra things.
Sheesh.
All right, well, there's the clap. I'm clapping.
Thank you.
So yeah. So wow, I'm a little bit. I'm actually nervous
Yeah, I feel more nervous.
to have you in here. This is kind of weird. I don't know why. This is the first time you've ever done this.
Yes.
Of all these years,
That's his first time with the headphones on?
First time she's been in here and been a guest on anything that I've done.
Wow. I feel honored because, well, so let me just start by saying, you and I both know, I've known you for a few years, Scott, and for all the length of time that I've known you, I've always heard of the beautiful Kelly, but have never met the beautiful Kelly. And we know a lot of people in common who always say, oh, isn't Kelly great? She's so great. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't met her yet. I only do a podcast, my audiobook, like all kinds of other stuff with you. And I'm like, yeah, I've never
Well,
played
she's
eyes
like
on
the
this
silent partner here at Rock
But
Rocks.
I also feel weirdly like I know her because I also see all your posts on Facebook. So like when she walked in, I was like, oh yeah, there she is. So I'm glad you're here today.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, it's good.
So,
But I am also nervous for some strange reason. Because it's not our normal, it's not going to be our normal, well, let's do it like our normal thing. Let's put it on Kelly. Let's ask Kelly.
you want her to start?
Oh, yeah. Well, you want to start? All right, we'll be
I have
fair. You start, and then we'll get to Kelly. So you just know this is coming to you.
Okay.
Okay, you start. So tell us about. Honestly, Scott, you have 3 weeks to talk about.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So pick a few things.
I'll just use the most recent weeks.
Okay.
So, what did I learn? Man, I don't even know how to actually put words to this. But there are so many people who have been affected by sexual harassment from people in power. I mean, the Me Too movement, basically. Encapsulate the Me Too movement into this week. And I've seen like 3 specific examples that are sort of personal to me. With
That's because we're not shutting up about it anymore.
with people that I know. Exactly. And it's been tough. It's been tough because so I have a friend. These are all friends of mine.
Okay.
So my one friend who his daughter was kind of approached by someone online who was much older, and she's a minor. Another one was 2 people that worked together.
Co-workers
Co-worker,
or
well-
boss subordinate?
No, it wasn't a bot. They were coworkers.
Okay.
I don't want to get too in depth on that
Okay.
because it might be too obvious about who I'm
Okay.
talking about.
Okay.
But yes, coworkers. One of the coworkers was let go because of it. And another one was just sort of in the local film production community, somebody that I've never worked with, but there are rumors about this guy. Okay. And someone that I have worked with reached out to me and said, hey, just so you know.
Yep.
So it really bothers me.
Yeah, it's all kind of falling under the category of creepy dudes without boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just, the thing that really bugs me is when it's someone who has a position of power and they take advantage of it. I mean, Harvey Weinstein, Louis C.K. was one of my.
That was a devastating one.
Yeah,
Actually.
because I'm like, I love this guy.
I know.
I love this guy, and then I heard that, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
So
That's all the time, right? That's like how people felt about Bill Clinton. They're like, "Oh,
Right.
he's so great. Oh, he's such a perv." And how do you hold both? But we all have our shadow side. I mean, not that that's every man's shadow side,
right.
but
Well, my learning this week is that men have to do better, and I don't mean the men who obviously do this because
no, the regular
it's
Joe.
if you see it, say something.
Yeah.
Call out your fellow guy and say, dude, what are you doing?
Well, I think you and I have talked about this before, but like the locker room talk.
Right.
Is locker room talk a real thing? Like people, like I don't really. Do you know about locker room talk? Like growing up, people would say, like, what does that even mean? Someone's in there like, I got a little piece of her last night. Is that what locker room talk is?
I guess. I don't really go to locker rooms, so I don't know. But that's what when the whole Trump thing with grab them by the pay.
By the pay. They like it. They like it.
It was sort of played off as it's just locker room talk, and it's the idea of guys will be guys,
Right, boys will be boys.
No, it's got to change. There's so many things that have to change.
But why do you think, so I'm very interested in this topic, obviously, as someone who's, been on the receiving end of this stuff. And I'm very curious how you think, why is this happening with men? Like I keep saying, what are women doing what are we doing to our sons? What are we doing that they have this, but maybe it's not moms. Maybe it's like
What do you think, Kel?
I mean, for real, like why don't men say, dude, that's not cool?
Well, I think it's, if you're looking at, take away all the, the famous people and, you're talking about a generation of people that are online. They can hide behind their computers. They may struggle in real life, but, being behind a computer and talking to someone on the computer, it makes them feel strong. It makes them feel powerful. They don't have to feel uncomfortable with the fact that they're extremely thin or overweight or have acne or don't have acne. Like they can be whoever they want to be.
Right. They don't have to be even honest. Right. They don't,
right.
They don't have to be who they are.
So, I think that these days that's empowering people to do things that they might not have normally done when we grew up.
Right. I feel like that I look, not that this stuff hasn't been going on since age immemorial or time immemorial, but is that what I say? Time immemorial? But I think about, when I think about the 80s and stuff, like with the MTV generation, which is really when I kind of was in my high school years, I think about those music videos where the women are all like wearing their bras and their panties and they're dancing and there's some guy there and he's just kicked back in the chair and watching these tons of women shake their rump shakers for him. And I'm like, that's like the male gaze thing, and I'm like, we have to, that is so embedded in our culture that like women are there for your pleasure, for male pleasure. And do you get that? Like, do you get that at a guy level that like, that's so much of the makeup industry, the Botox, like we're not getting Botox for we are, but like we're not worrying about our physique for us. It's like the male gaze.
But see, I am for me.
You are.
I don't, but Scott and I have a very, very, these days, I would say unconventional relationship.
Interesting.
He does the grocery shopping. Right. He does the majority of the cooking. Yes,
cooking.
Air quotes.
Well, if you didn't do it, we wouldn't eat.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But,
fair enough.
I think that, but I mean, you've kind of always been very sensitive to, and then I just sort of trained along the way, I would say.
Because that was where I was going to go with my questions, was sort of like, because my experience of Scott is like, why aren't there more of him?
Right.
Like, why can't we clone this person
Right.
over here? He's so, I'm not saying you're perfect, but you're so, you're smart, you're funny, you're talented, and you're so self-aware, and aware of the stuff that, I don't know.
How I affect people.
How you affect people.
Yeah,
and also you
right.
care about people's stories.
Right.
That's your thing. Because
Right.
you're video people's stories, you're listening to people's stories. You care about telling their stories, getting
Yeah.
their stories heard. And you're so respectful of people's stories.
Try to be.
Yeah. And so, I don't know. It's like, so you're saying, that plays out in other, you have a non-traditional, he
Right.
steps into non-traditional roles.
Yeah, and I
without
think
problem.
that, he kind of always had that in him. But then, there comes a point in, I think, a lot of people's lives where if you are self-aware, you do self-reflection. Yeah. And if you don't, then you won't know where you're lacking, but you really have to be open to that and say, you know what, I feel like, somebody could say, well, you're this way. And you could say, well, you know what, I'm not.
Right.
I'm
You correct
reacting
them.
to your reactions,
Right.
and that's how it's going to go. But if you really kind of sit back and go, wow, that may not have played out that way if I hadn't have really thought about what that person was going through. So it's so layered.
Yeah, and you're speaking to what I think you're saying without saying. Scott has a lot of empathy, and I haven't known Scott that long, but I certainly know enough of your family history to know where did that come from? Because from what you said, farm background or background, like where
What are you talking
I don't know,
about?
not farm, but like background.
We're not
I know.
farmers.
Not farm, but like where you grew up was kind of. Am I making that up in my head? Like grew up. Where did you grow up? I'm questioning everything. Now I'm
South
questioning
Florida.
everything. South Florida. But
No, there's a lot of empathy in my family.
there is.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you might be confusing
I
me
may
with
be
other-
confusing something else.
So when I
who was I thinking about that said that they grew up as a farmer?
I don't know. Hey, farmer, let us know who you is.
when I first met his dad,
What's that?
when I first met his dad, we were sitting on the couch, and there was a picture on the wall, and it was his dad and a couple of his buddies, and it was like a golf picture. And so we're watching TV, and I'm like, very uncomfortable, and we're just like dee. And so I asked his dad about this picture, this golf picture. So his dad starts to talk about it, and he starts crying.
Oh,
Now,
you never painted that picture of. Okay.
We never really talked about it, honestly.
I guess I'm thinking of you. This
You think of this farmer, this mysterious farmer.
I don't know who the heck that. Who could that even be? I don't even know. I do talk to a lot of people, but anyway. So go on about the golf. So your dad starts. His dad
he
starts crying,
and I was just like,
Wow.
I've probably seen my dad cry,
zero times,
3 times in my life.
Yeah.
And so he just starts crying, and I was just like, oh God, what did I do? Because I'm thinking this is a big deal, and Scott's like,
It's not a big
Yeah,
deal.
like he cries at coffee commercials.
Right.
It's
Kleenex
good.
says bless you.
Right. So
And he's gotten more emotional, and
Sure.
now he's
Yes.
83. So
I think that,
But that's not typical of how men are socialized, right? It's like,
No.
suck it up,
right.
keep it in, be a
But
man.
his dad has this like 50-50. He'll be like, suck it up, but then he'll cry about it. You know what I mean? Like so he has this
duality.
the duality of suck it up, sucker, and then like, I'm really sorry I said that.
Yeah, I get that.
So Scott definitely has that sensitivity, and throughout our marriage, we've kind of grown together in figuring out, how we are as people and how we want to relate to people, and we both, even though I'm in medicine and he does this, we both are very involved in people's stories.
Yeah, very empathic.
And
right?
love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure people tell you all the stories.
I told you about how she's psychic, right?
Yeah, so that's where I was going to go. So I was going to say, so can you? So Scott has mentioned that you have superpowers, which I think a lot of women actually have an ability to deeply know something. It's actually something that's been coming forward for me more and more, and I'm getting more and more clarity about recently. Is that a lot of people, when people talk about gaslighting, and it's like, I cannot be gaslit anymore because my whole life people told me like what I was feeling and sensing, there's no way. And now I realize they're wrong. I can and I do. And it's just a little sooner than other people. Like I'm onto something. It's like my whole book, right? Now there's that Xanax movie out and all that stuff. And it's like things are coming to the forefront. Well, I was telling people 10 years ago, so I'm just a little ahead. So I'm curious what it is that when this comes up for you, like where has this power, this sort of deep knowing come up for you, either recently or like what's a great story where you became aware of your abilities?
So, I think that I manifested what I go through quite frequently is a long time ago, my palm would itch. And so I was I looked that up and it said, oh, well, you're going to have money or whatever. So I think that I, in some way, manifested that as to be my thing. So, I can't even think of how many years it's been, but I started to actually say something to him because my left, if I'm going to get money, my right palm itches. If he's going to get money, my left palm itches. So,
what if my scalp itches?
You need
Does that mean
head and
you
shoulders.
shower?
yeah, head and shoulders.
Head and shoulders.
So go on.
So, so then
It doesn't. I was just asking.
okay, because you're a little close.
Okay.
Like if they're jumping onto me, I'm going to be very upset.
I know it's just kidding.
You were at the hairdresser
I
yesterday.
was, but everything's okay. I was
Did
just
she
going
give
for
you
the fun.
anything?
No, we're good.
You sure?
We'll talk about that later.
Okay. There's a salve for that.
Sad.
So go on. So your palms are itching,
So-
and then you're noticing
Right. So
things
then
would happen.
Right. So, my left palm would itch and then he would say, "Oh, I'm really excited. I got blah blah blah." And I was like, "Huh." And so I waited a while to say anything, and then I started just texting him palm. And so usually within a day, something would happen.
I love this.
Yeah.
A new client or, whatever. And so now I just text him palm. And the other day I was at work and, I had my gloves on and then I took my gloves off and I said, it's going to be something big because my palm will not stop itching. And I'm like itching it on my desk while I'm putting my report in. And I was like, hurry up and find out because I'm dying here. And sure enough. So,
Wait, sure enough for him or
Yes.
sure enough for you?
For him.
So what was the thing?
I don't remember. It was actually a couple of
Couple
like
of things.
new projects
Okay.
that came through
Yeah.
that day.
Oh.
So one of the things that I've just started researching into is synchronicity. Because every day I look at the clock and I see 7:03. And that's actually my birthday is 7/3. But it's every day.
Twice a day.
If I'm right, it doesn't happen at night. It only happens in the morning.
Okay.
So usually it's if I'm home and maybe I'm still in bed, which never happens, or driving to work. 7/3, 7/3, 7/3, or 7/4. But my birthday is 7/3/7/4.
Oh.
So those things are popping up now. There's a lot of things that I can't explain, and honestly, the more that you try to think about it with your conscious mind,
Yeah, it's not that. You can't go there. It's because it's not. Yeah,
because
that.
it's your subconscious. So I have a lot of
Well, and it's deeply spiritual too. So
Right.
you're not gonna that shit'll get you put in the psych ward. Trust me, I've been there. And so, but
Right.
it is a real thing. There's a whole layer of spirituality that we are not all of us are privy to. And so then it just sounds like you're making things up or whatever. But it is actually a real thing.
right. And you have to be. You can be
Open.
aware of it, and you can be open to it, but you have to know that it's not going to come to you in your conscious mind. It's going to be your subconscious. So I don't talk about it with anybody except for Scott. I don't, I'd like to, get more involved and try to figure out how.
Yeah, that's why we were talking about going over to Purple Door.
Purple
Yeah.
Door. So I was going to tell you, so something that's coming out that I've learned in my life, it has to do with, I don't really have like physical symptoms per se, but it has to do with being aware of resistance. When I'm in a flow place, things just come. And that's how I know that I'm on my path. And like, that's how I'm supposed to be, so, you can go a little bit off your path. But as long as things are flowing, things are good. And I cannot tell you over the last 4 days how many things have not been good for me. The things have been very difficult, very hard. And it's because in the back of my mind, I know I'm needing to make a shift and in a certain area of my life. And if I don't pay attention to it, the more stuff that's going to go off, that's going to go awry. So I'm super aware, and I'm just trying to correct those things that went wrong. And now I have to be willing to zig. So the same way that you pay attention to your palm, I pay attention to resistance. If there's something I'm working on and suddenly it's just not happening, or trying to have an appointment and the person just keeps canceling, it's like, that's not supposed to happen, or that appointment's not supposed to happen or whatever. So I'm really aware of that. So it's just interesting that you have a somatic thing that really alerts you. That's next level. It's cool.
Yeah. When I went to visit my best friend in Florida, I realized that her sister, not her sister, her daughter has the same things, but she is able to talk to people and that kind of thing. So she's a little bit further ahead than I am. And every time we were to talk or talk about it, we get the goosebumps. So it's kind of neat because when she left that night, we were like, we're definitely going to get together next time I come down. And all day long, every time I would say Brittany, I would get the goosebumps. And then she texted me back. She was in the car with her boyfriend, and she would get this. She texted me a picture of her leg, and she had goosebumps all the way down her leg. And I was just like, see, I have them now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's I don't know what connection I have with Brittany, but we're gonna find out.
Cool.
So.
Okay, but see, the person who just texted me said he's watching us live, and he knows exactly what I'm talking about with the resistance. So, hi, Marty. Thanks for the comment. But yeah, no, that's cool. And the goosebumps are big. That's that synchronicity stuff that you're because people are not aware, but we really do co-regulate, that's what humans do. It's energy. And so when you're with someone, your body knows something that our brains are slower to catch, but our bodies know things. So it's how you can figure out if you're really in sync and really feeling somebody's when you have those same.
Yeah. And one of the other things is that I will think about somebody that maybe isn't in my everyday life.
And then they call or they text or whatever.
No, usually it's something's wrong.
Oh.
So the last one that happened, I thought about her for a couple of days. And so I said, well, I'll reach out. And she had cancer.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So unfortunately for me, when I think about somebody that's not in my daily life frequently, it's something's wrong. So usually I will reach out.
Interesting.
So
I've had that myself, but less that than I'm literally thinking about someone that I don't speak to very often, and they will within 15 minutes, it's that kind of, they'll text me and say, I was thinking of you. And it's like, are you kidding me?
Well, yours is happy.
So, well, not always, just sometimes it's a weird thing. It's like, I think about somebody and I'm like, I should reach out. And then they do. And it's really close.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes simultaneous. So like you're saying, synchronicities.
I just listened to an audiobook not too long ago that was a self-help type of thing. And there was a whole section on resistance.
Oh.
And I just can't remember what it's called.
Okay.
But
you have to let me know. I love your audiobook recommendations. I do. I'm not kidding. I'm not being snarky.
No, I know.
I listen to a lot of the things you recommend. So figure it out.
So I guess where should we go from here?
Well,
now?
so did you want to say more on that topic about the men standing up? We kind of went over to Kelly, but
yeah.
Did you want to say anything else on that? Because then I just have to lighten it up and tell you about my freaking two things.
Yeah, I mean, obviously don't want to get into any specifics or anything, but really the main thing that I wanted to say is that men, we have to do better. We have to look out to see how other men are acting and what they're doing. And,
So can you role play with me for a minute, seriously? Like, so how would you call a man out? Are you talking about like mentioning it to a stranger? You're in Pontillo's over there getting a pizza, and somebody says, "Look at that fine piece of." Like, would you call that out? Like, where's your lot? So what would you say?
Yeah, totally.
How would you say it?
I'd go, really? Seriously?
Do you think they know what that means?
Yeah.
You do?
Well, if they don't, then I'd be like, I'd have to go further with it. But I'm also very non-confrontational.
I know you are,
so
but I don't think guys get it.
I don't
think men get it.
I'm sure there's plenty of guys don't get it.
Uptight.
They'll say, they'll turn in your man card, dude, or whatever that bullshit is.
Yeah.
The whole man card thing.
So how do we raise men's consciousness so that they can feel like, because I don't think really they don't get it.
I mean,
they don't get it.
We've raised our son to be very respectful. I don't recall any specific steps, but I think it has to do with how the parents are, how they treat one another.
Well, then you're talking about next generation stuff, because there's a lot of men here on the planet right now that need to have a couple bugs put in their ears.
Yeah.
And how do we do that? How do men do? I'm not just calling you out. I'm just saying if you're saying men, we have to do better. I don't think really is doing better. It's a little better, but like when I go to I have a real thing. I've told you this before. I have a real thing about violence against children, and I'm talking even screaming, speaking ill, like watching mothers, screaming at their kids in the grocery store. When you see that sometimes where somebody's really, and I slide in with it looks like you're having a really difficult day. How about but
yeah.
Like I'm guessing your child didn't do that to you or whatever. Like you seem really angry today, but probably like I try to find a way to
diffuse the situation.
It seems like you're really stressed out. Is there anything I can do to help you? Because yelling at your kid is just making me really uncomfortable. The way you're speaking to your child is making me really uncomfortable and probably making her. So I try to do that, to be specific though, because I think if I looked at the woman and went, really, she's just going to be defensive. She's just going to be like, screw you, lady. How dare you comment on my life? And I don't know what she went through. She might have had a horrible day. She might have somebody in the hospital so I don't think really is specific enough, and it just makes people defensive. I'm just offering it up. I'm really
that's a really good point. And going back to my non-confrontational self, I never am able to come up with the right thing to say in the moment. 10 minutes later, I got it. I'll nail it. But at the time, I'm so nervous.
Yeah.
And I don't like to butt in to anyone's whatever.
Yeah.
It's just not in my nature.
I'm a Budinsky.
Yeah, you're a Budinsky.
I'm a Budinsky. I was at the mall the other day, and there was a girl with a bunch of guys. One girl, 10 guys. And they had all their food in the food court. And I don't know what was going on, but I noticed her, and she's picking up everybody's garbage and throwing it into the trash. And the guys all of them sat there. And we're talking teenagers,
Were they Italians?
I don't know what they were. They were teenage boys laughing and joking. And she was the one girl, and she was picking up all the garbage and bringing it over to the trash for him. And I walked over to her at the trash, and you can imagine what I said.
Oh, jeez.
I said, I know that these are your friends, but are you aware that you are picking up after them? I said, it is not your job to pick up after them. It is their job to pick up after themselves. I said, why are you doing that? And she was like, I didn't really even think about it. And I said, that's the whole thing. They have to think about it. We always think about it. You're thinking about cleaning up. And then that gets them not to think about that. They think a woman's just going to clean that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And she was like, I never thought about it like that. I was like, let them pick up their own stuff.
Some people just like to be helpful.
Nope, that's called codependency.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Picking up after other people.
I pick up after other people.
Well, that's called codependency. Why do you do it? I mean, if it's in your space, that's different. People leave junk around.
No, because I'm trying, like if we're out at a food court and then we're finished, I'll take everything and throw it away.
Well, that's your family. I think that's different. It's your family. I think that's a very different thing. but it can be a thing. It's like, how come that's your thing to do? How come you don't expect your kids to throw their things out? I'm just tossing it out at you.
I think she's talking about the difference between kids doing it and adults doing it.
Right.
Like if you were out with, your
okay.
friends
I got you.
and you picked up
Picked up
after
picking
them.
up
Yeah.
right.
Everybody, as kids,
Right.
teenagers, we'd all
Right.
do our own thing.
She's
Right.
talking about the malleable brain.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm just talking about in general, just to be aware. Like, is that your role in the family? Like, your kids know dad's just going to pick it up. That's not
Yeah,
great
unfortunately,
either.
that is true, and that's something that
Something
we're
to think
trying to
about.
fix.
Right.
At least we have been for 15 years.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's that we train people how we want to be treated, or how, we train people consciously or unconsciously. And I have a friend with a dog, and his dog jumps on the sofa, and he's like, and it's not, and that's fine if you want your dog on the sofa, but if you don't want the dog on the sofa, then you have to do some training. And he just, I'm like, you realize your dog is the alpha in this house, and as are your, like, you're the one paying the bill, and like you're doing a lot of stuff here. And he was like, God, I never thought about that before. And so, the kids leave the laundry for him to, it's like a mess and stuff like that. So
It all goes back to my non-confrontational ways.
right.
I don't like, even in my own family, I don't like confrontation. I don't like to go and tell my kids, over and over the
Yeah.
same thing.
I-
Because one thing is because
doesn't
what
have
am I
to be
going to do?
confrontational. I think that's the thing, is that it doesn't have to be confrontational. Like, so, I have a 23-year-old, and every year on his birthday, I'd say, okay, we're about to give you your present, but before we do, we're going to tell you your new responsibility. We're going to pick a new responsibility. So here's your choices. You can start to, X, Y, and Z. And so it wasn't like, you got to start picking up in this house. It was like, you pick.
Sure.
But that's just what we did in our family system, And so then it wasn't a fight, because it was just kind of like, remember, this is your new responsibility. I'm not going to be doing this. And then you can't do it. So I think it's about, if you don't set it up, then you have a conflict. So I try to do things so I don't have conflict with people, if that makes sense. I worked really, really hard to not have conflict with people. Doesn't always work. But I do think when it comes to your point about men needing to stand up, that's a great statement. What does it sound like? How do you do it?
Yeah, like I said, I have to think about it. In the moment, I most definitely would not come up with
What
something
if it was this?
poignant.
What if it was something like, hey, man, do you have any daughters? I got 2.
Yeah, so I
Or
would
I
have
got
come.
3, I
I would
got
have come
6.
up with that 10 minutes after.
Right.
At the moment, I'm too nervous. I'm too
Yeah.
jittery, and all that stuff just go every time. Since I
think
can
that's
remember.
super common. I think that's common. I think that's how tragedy happens, right? That's like how Holocausts happen,
Right.
Because people are like, oh my God, I didn't know what to do. But there's a whole other people with an agenda, and they're doing it. They're doing it. So we have to, we have to be better about facing our fears and standing up for that stuff, for sure. And really, think about what you see for the next time. It's because it happens. So, but I do try to slide in with with all due respect, I had daughters, and if that was my daughter, I wouldn't want you speaking about her in that way. And just statement about, I wouldn't like that. Or you could be like, that's my daughter. that girl you're talking about over there, that's my daughter. You can lie. Not really, but she could have been.
See, in my mind, I say something like that, and then the guy gets all puffed up, alpha male, and wants to fight. Now where am I?
Oh, that's where you're going with it.
Now where am I?
He's going to want to fight you.
Because the guys that say that stuff
they
are
will.
typically the guys that would fight you when you say something
Yeah,
to
likes
them.
to fight guys.
And I'm not, that's,
So how do...
and I think that's where a lot of people get into problems with sticking up for other people, is because they don't want to get into that physicality.
Or even if it's not sticking up for other people, even if it's just sticking up for yourself, how to
exactly.
ask for a raise. Or
Exactly.
you don't want to have a fight.
Exactly.
Oh, that's good. Well, you're going to have to work on that curriculum. Because I don't know how to
I'll
do
have
it
to go
myself.
take some Krav Maga classes or something.
Yeah, right. Well, do I have a minute to just tell you my quick thing? I
Yeah,
know it's
go
going
for
on.
it.
All right, I want to tell you my quick thing. So I had something very upsetting happen yesterday. I make all this art for a living, and I spent a lot of time on a painting that turned out really beautifully. I was very proud of it. I had a lot of people who wanted to buy it, and one person who asked for it first. She lives in Florida. I went to the post office. I did not insure it. You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
She sent me a picture yesterday and said, the artwork arrived. It's damaged. And she sent me the picture, and it's completely...
Just destroyed.
Yeah, it's punctured. It's sliced. And so, right, it's like most people, I want people to be happy when they get my art, that's like a creation, that's like a baby that I sent off.
Right.
And I started to cry, and I was like, I know how much she wanted it. I also know how much it cost, and I need the income.
Yeah.
And immediately I was like, she's like, can you fix it? And I'm like, I'm not an art restorationist. When you go through the canvas and when the frame is all fakakta, I don't know how to fix that personally.
Right.
But it felt personal because I usually write at the bottom. I guess I shouldn't say it felt personal. I usually write at the bottom of each package, fragile, do not puncture or bend. And I did not write it on this one. And it was punctured and bent. I know. So see, like when you're talking about that weird thing, the thing that I didn't do, they literally did both of those things. And so, I had to refund her. She wanted me to, she was like, could I send it back to you and have you fix it? And it's not going to have it by Christmas. I'm not going to have it probably I'm going away in January, not going to have it. And I said, I started thinking, could I do it? And I just thought, I got to take it off my plate. I'm going to refund her. And maybe at some point I'll be able to do another thing that she likes. But
is there a better way to ship it so that it doesn't happen?
I am totally over USPS. And I can't even believe I'm saying that because I'm a huge fan of the Postal Service. But I'm going UPS, I'm going right to straight Staples. Shout out Brian at Staples on Jefferson Road. And he packs things like the bomb. However, the price is double. So sorry, my artwork, the cost of shipping just went up.
There you go. I mean, look at my thing with FedEx. FedEx finally paid my claim for the mixer that they damaged.
Right, but
it took 6 months.
Ago. Right. Oh my gosh. Was your palm itching when that happened? Really? It's coming. But yeah, so that was devastating. And so when I learned of this, I was at a hair salon appointment with a new hairstylist, and I was also having not a great experience there. My hair went. I just really can't say too much. It went from orange to like silver, and then I wanted to leave. Like I had that moment where I was like, I've had it. I'm leaving. I'm just going to leave with this and go buy a box and dump it on my head. And then I was like, no, I'm going to say, you need to fix this because you can't look at this and think it's right. And she acknowledged it's not right, and it's not right, and let's stay as long as we need to fix it. I went there at 4:30 for an appointment, left at 11.
Oh.
Do you know how many chemicals are in this hair? And
you're lucky you still have hair at that
My
point.
hair's very resilient, but Scott, for real, you see me every week basically, or how different does it look right now? Not very, right?
Right.
Not very.
Yeah.
So
you got almost back to where it started.
My lesson learned was if it ain't broken,
don't
fix it. I should not have gone to the salon because it didn't need it.
Right.
It didn't need it.
It was just like an idea, like, I'm going to do something different with my hair. What the heck?
Yeah, I'm going to do something different. And it's like, wow, that was not.
You also learned that you have to find a better salon.
Well, I learned that you should bring a picture of what, when working with someone new, you should be like, here's what I'm thinking. Take a look at that. Instead of being like, I kind of want it to blend and look a little like, I want to do something different. And I'm an artist. And she's like, oh, we can make big. And, and I was like, I don't want it to be purple, but, she's like, oh, yeah, big swatches of color. And I'm like, we just did not have the same idea. And all of this could have been clarified if I just went, this is me with hair I like.
Yeah.
You said you didn't want purple. You didn't say orange.
Correct. So I was not clear on anything else, for real. Like we talked, but to be on an up note, we totally talked it out. I felt like it was a testament to like both of us that she didn't say F you and get the hell out of here. She wanted to please me, and I didn't say screw you, I'm leaving, and write her a really bad Yelp review. Like we really fixed it. I feel I'm content. It's back to where it was, pretty close, maybe a little darker, but it's okay. but I'm not. That was not the way to. That was not well researched. That was not well communicated, and it wasn't broken.
That's why I'm.
I love your brush cut. You do his cuts, don't you? Do you not?
Do his and my own.
Yeah.
Oh,
She cuts the kids' hairs too.
Cut the kids' hair too.
Really? Wow.
Speaking of Kelly,
Yeah.
so one of the things that I have learned from Kelly over the years is how to get more people to like you instantly, which Kelly can walk into a room. I don't care how many people are in the room or what kind of people they are. When she leaves, she's just made 10 new friends.
Oh, I could feel that when she walked in.
Yeah.
She came with her sparkly shoes.
Right.
It's called diarrhea of the mouth.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't think it's just that.
Kelly can talk to anybody about anything and they will absolutely feel at home. And this is why she excels in her job, because she deals with people in close quarters for 45 minutes to an hour every time. And not everybody is plays along.
I also
but
think she has, because for real, before she even said anything, she has great eye contact. She walks in, looks at you.
Yeah.
She's pretty.
Yeah.
She's well put together.
Sure helps.
She's sparkly like her shoes.
Yes.
It's dark in those rooms.
So clearly you're a good communicator as well. But for real, like there's something that comes with you. It's just that aura. It's that energy. You have that. She has that.
And that is exactly what I saw the first time I met her in 1995 at the billiard club in Davie, Florida. And my brother was the bar manager, and she was a new waitress, and me.
She was working as a waitress.
Right. And I'm like, who's the new girl? And that was when you were brunette then, and
My natural.
yeah,
Well,
but she
my natural then. This is my natural now.
yeah, exactly. You don't color your hair. That's just how it came in. But she.
Neither do I anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
But she did have that eye contact, that wit
Yeah.
that I really loved. And over the years, she's sort of helped me to try to be better at relating with people. And, because I'm actually pretty shy, which shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that really knows me. So when I go to a place, if I don't feel at home, if I don't, I'll just
Stand in the corner.
yeah.
I know, me too.
So you?
Yeah. If I'm not comfortable, because I'm really good one-on-one.
Yeah.
Even 3 is hard, for me, because I'm like an eye person. So like I was looking at Kelly at the beginning and now I'm like it's hurting my neck, but I'm looking at her eyes in the monitor and you're straight ahead. So because I'm an eye reader. And but if I don't feel that, I'm off in the corner too. It's got to be the right. I'm not a party goer.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a party goer anymore, but it's the idea of meeting people and basically asking them questions
Right.
about themselves.
Right. Be curious about them.
Curious about themselves and don't turn don't focus the conversation
On
on
yourself,
you,
right.
on yourself.
It's the reporter trick. Tell me about yourself.
Right.
People love to talk
but
about
she's
themselves.
she's awesome at that. Like she really I've watched her work a room and I'm just amazed. I'm like, look at this.
It's great.
Yeah, it's really impressive, and it's not everybody can do that. At least not as well as you do.
And what have you learned about Scott that you like and appreciate? Like what drew you to him when you were working as a
What
waitress?
wasn't my hair?
Well, I mean, because it's like it's not always reciprocal. So he saw you and you thought,
I didn't think much of him at the time. I thought he had bad hair. He was very nice, and I really liked his brother and his sister-in-law. But no, I mean, I thought he would make a good friend. So we were,
And I did for 8 years.
yeah, we were very good friends. And I used to tell him, "You're like a brother to me."
oh, that's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. many nights he thought that it was very exciting because I invited him over, and
Oh, and you're like, we're just real. I mean,
then we
we're
would
really
hang out
watching
and I'd
Netflix.
fall asleep, and he would just leave and lock the door.
Right. There was no Netflix and chill. It was just, fall
Yeah,
asleep.
like he
chill.
would send me a text on my beeper.
Oh yeah, this is
Hi, BB. No, I like he was, he was so lovely, and I thought he's such a nice boy for someone else.
such a nice boy.
So when did it shift? What was the switch?
I was dating, and I was like, this sucks, and so I thought, Scott's a nice guy. Like that's who I should be with. So I called him, and we were talking, and he said, "You know what? I'm in love with you. I've been in love with you for all these years."
Oh my God!
And and so I got off the phone with him, and I said,
was your head spinning from that, or did you know?
Nah.
"No, I mean, I didn't know that he was like that in love with me." But I was just like, well, I guess I could give it a shot. Like I really like he's a nice guy, and so so that was kind of the beginning of the story.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
But yeah, she hated my hair.
And then she cut your hair, and
Yeah.
then
She's
she's
responsible
like,
for
all
this.
right, he's cuter with the better hair.
Yeah, I was like, okay,
with something to work with here.
now he's cute.
Okay,
So
he's a good canvas.
yes,
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
I look like such a jerk.
I didn't say it.
I was much harsher back then.
Yeah. Well, that's why our song for the longest time was "Barely Breathing" by Duncan Sheik. Do you know the lyrics of that
barely
song?
breathing.
He's basically singing to this girl who can't make up her freaking mind.
Yeah. What you used to say? I was wishy-washy.
Wishy-washy.
I can go forever.
Yeah. Well, close.
Wishy-washy. You're so wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I was.
But
Interesting. Well, thank you for sharing that. I know that you guys had a lovely weekend a few weekends ago. That's like at the Del Monte. That it's like the weekend that wasn't. That was like you're the first people to leave the Del Monte.
I'm
in the middle
so
of the night.
bougie though.
She
Even
is.
like the
Bougie,
Del
yeah.
Monte is bougie, but like it
You
was
needed that
great.
special bed.
And then we needed to leave it. No, I mean it was nice. We're not really going out people, so we decided that we were just going to hang out in the room and watch our shows and.
But
hang out.
even that can be enough, right? It's like it gave you enough
And
time.
that's all we needed, really,
Yeah.
because we like being together. We like spending time together. So it was just nice.
Yeah.
Not having to deal with the dog or, whatever. It was just nice to have that time. And, but then it was, I don't know, 3:00 in the morning.
we both woke
We
up.
both woke up, looked at
is
each
killing me.
other, and we were like, because we have the
Adjustable.
adjustable bed. So Scott sleeps in the zero gravity position.
Yeah.
So he's like sitting up and wonky. And I have like a body pillow
Right,
and a
right.
head pillow and a water pillow. And like, I'm just all pillowed up. So,
Yeah.
so we both woke up. We both went up, got up and went to the bathroom, and we're like, I'm not comfortable. Are you comfortable? I'm not comfortable.
I love that you had this.
and-
But even that is like an intimate thing. Like you both, it was the same issue. It's the bed.
Right.
Let's go home.
So we were like, all right, pick up the candles, pick up the, everything. And
The leftovers.
Scott was like, should we just go home? And I was like, yeah, get the leftovers. Let's go. Let's hit it. So we got home at 4:00 in the morning. And because we were talking, we were like, well, we can sleep in here and not have to worry about the dog or whatever. But we're not really sleeping very well. So let's just go. So we were like, Sure enough.
I called the front desk. I'm like, can I just leave if I want to
Yeah.
leave? They're like, yeah, you're
you
good.
pay for the room. You're good. You can do. It's not usually by the hour, sir. But
well, ours was.
I know. But for real, I
Scott's like, that cost us $45 an hour. I'm like,
But I actually really love it. And it just speaks to the fact that sometimes you just have to carve out a little bit of time away from, you just need to change the scene, right? Sometimes you just need to change the scene couple hours. And I just loved that you both had the same response, which was like, yeah, let's go home.
Yeah.
And even that can just be so unifying. You're on the same page.
We're always on the same page.
Yeah.
That's good.
We finish each other's sentences
That's
and
nice.
all that kind of great
Well,
stuff.
I'm so glad to meet the other half. You are truly as great as everyone says and I expected. So
What did you learn this week,
yeah,
Kel?
what did you learn this week?
Not to put you on the spot.
Put her on the spot.
I don't know. I don't know what I learned this week.
Did you not know our name of our show?
Okay. So I think what I learned this week was a little bit more about perception and people's perception. I had some patients this week that were really sick and working at the hospital. And, you have to really understand and think that when you're talking to anybody, no matter where you are, is that, your perception of how they are acting or reacting is so important, and you need to listen to that. And be aware. Be aware of what somebody else is going through, because you may think that they're mean or they're, not really listening to you, but you have no idea what they're going through.
Right.
It's the whole empathy thing.
And kind of be open to, if they're open to it, be open to hear their perception and what their story is and how they're feeling.
It's beautiful. I mean, that requires time and a willingness to stop the clock a little bit, because we're all like, got to be here, got to be there. And it
I
really
stop the
requires
clock
that.
a lot.
Yeah.
She does.
That's good. So do you, I think.
I think. Yeah, but I mean, that's
great.
And I think, over the, now that we've been married for 20 years, we both have done so much growing and we've helped each other grow so much over, even in the last 5-6 years. And you can never stop growing, and you can never stop learning how to be better.
Yeah, it's true.
That's great. Look at you guys, little trees growing all these
We're so
branches.
cute.
You're so cute. So cute. It was really nice, and thank you for coming here. I wanted you to, from the moment we started this, I was like, when can we get Kelly? So I'm so glad that you
Thank you for
did
having me.
this and with us, and probably will not be seeing anyone until the new year, because right till we're done for December. You and me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we doing something in January?
No,
Well,
I'll be
you
gone.
leave.
Well, we talked about maybe doing something
Oh, remotely.
remotely.
Oh.
All right.
One.
Yeah.
Do it under a palm tree.
I was gonna say, because I'll have my virgin daiquiri, and I'll have my sunshine.
I could do mine outside where it's freezing. I'm
Yeah.
standing in the snow.
on location.
The juxtaposition of the two shots.
Love it.
Yes, there'll be all the seagulls. I'll be like, oh look, someone's eating a French fry. Oh, there's the seagull attacking the child. Cute. But yeah,
Mine?
Right, mine. But so we should do one in January. But I'll be back.
Awesome.
In February. So this
Well,
is it
it's
for
been
the year.
fun.
This was our 2023 or 2022.
This is our
end of
our
year
finale.
wrap-up.
Our
This is
finale.
Oh, I do want to. Either we should end, but I do have one question. I got to ask Kelly one more question. So, what we were doing with our guests, and hopefully we'll continue to do with our guests, is we're asking people to bring something that they would be willing to let go of, So there's things that you learned, but what's something that you would actually willing to let go of? And so I'm curious, if you were going to bring something, if not that you are, but if you had something physical that you were going to be willing to let go of as we move into, as we let go of 2022, what thing in your house that's sort of hanging around that you could be like, yeah, I could let that go? The thing that's around that you just haven't let go of.
My big underwear from when I was overweight.
From when you were what?
Overweight.
Oh my gosh, let them go. We'll take them. We're auctioning all these things off at some point in the near future.
I brought the hat that you hated. You know that hat that I wore?
I didn't hate the hat. I hated the hat on you.
Well, yeah,
She's very honest.
That's what I meant.
That's fine. Well, cool. I will
So
take your
next
undies.
time you can wear my underwear on your head.
I will take your undies to the pile. So if you feel like
I can
donating them
I
to
can wear the camera cover Rasta hats
that I made.
that you made.
those are great. Those knitted things. You could wear one too and be twinsies. But anyway,
Okay.
so I was
So
just
that's
curious.
it.
Yep, that's it.
My big
You're
old
willing to
underwear.
you're willing to let go of the big old underwear.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Great.
I say let them go in 2022.
Let
Not
'em
sure
go.
that's exactly what you were looking for, but that's the only thing that I feel like I want to let it go.
Go home and let them go. Because what are you doing? You're not that girl.
I'm not that girl.
You're not that girl.
Well,
Thanks, Scott.
that wraps up the show for Kelly Fitzgerald and Nay and Fitz. Thank you so much for joining us this Friday, and we'll be back at some point in January. And we wish you all the best in holidays and
Happy
all that.
Happy holidays. Happy New
Happy
Year.
holidays, Happy New Year, and whatnot. And we'll see you some other time.
Bye.